How's it going? Today we'll be comparing two budget phone cameras, the Galaxy A53 versus the Pixel 6a. Now in terms of cameras, the Samsung does have a quad system setup on the back, ultra wide, macro, and depth. I think the last two isn't a huge impact in terms of everyday life versus having a telephoto lens. So essentially for the most part, I'll be using the wide and ultra wide, just like the ones on the Pixel 6a. All right, let's do a quick microphone test. Testing 1 2 1 2. This is what it sounds like on a Galaxy A53. Testing 1 2 1 2. This is what it sounds like on the Pixel 6a. Let's do one more microphone test. This is with the speech enhancement on the Pixel 6a. There are a few quirks that I don't like about both of these phones, and first one, I'll say the Samsung in 4K doesn't have as good as stabilization. It's very shaky, so I would have to go down or down res to 1080p, which is okay for the most part, but if you do want the highest quality, then I would prefer having or vlogging with the Pixel 6a. Now for the Pixel side of things, when you're using an external microphone, you would always have to make sure to manually switch it to use that microphone. It's not automatic and plug and play like a Samsung, so if you're vlogging using any external microphones, it's kind of annoying. On this very hot day, I do have a short meeting in New York, and Danny Wingit is also going to be there, so we're going to meet up, hang out, and most likely just grab some food and drinks around the city. As you can tell, the A53 is wider on the ultra wide angle lens, so it's a bit more handy when you're indoors in tight spaces or just want to get that more epic looking shot. On a Pixel, it is wide enough, but I feel like the ultra wide is similar to the wide on the Pixel A. Now I downgraded to 1080p on the A53 to kind of get that stabilization back. Even though it's still not as good, you can slightly see the micro jitters as I take harder steps, but it is a big improvement over 4K. Moving over to the wide lens, I noticed the A53 does have this turquoise looking shade in the sky, but I guess it's personal preference. I do like the natural looking color on the Pixel 6a. But I'll give the skin tones to A53 just because I do like that nice warmth coming out of it, and also the sun's out, so it kind of like matches the mood. Now these two phones don't have a telephoto lens, but they do give you quick access to 2x, and max zoom on A53 is 10x and 7x on the 6a. The 2x looks fine, a little bit digitized, but obviously not as much as the max zoom. But once you're there, you can see the Pixel software does a really good job sharpening the image. Also, the Pixel is pretty strong on the white balancing. Even though it's closer to the eye on an A53, realistically it does have a yellow tint, not a white light on the Pixel. Now for portrait mode, the front-facing camera, it does a pretty good job. I think the white balancing is the only difference here, and on the A53, it's just slightly off or slightly yellowish. For the back camera, as you can tell, it's wider on A53, and you can do 2x on a Pixel, but I wouldn't recommend it since it looks pretty digitized for the most part. I'll say the Pixel is a bit more easier to use in portrait mode because there's really not much to it but to hit the button. On a Galaxy, you would have to move around until it says ready, and then you can take it. But that's personal preference, so it's up to you. Now for the Instagram camera app, of course, it's an Android, so it's not fully optimized like the iPhone. And I noticed that if I'm downloading the footage or the video, the first few seconds is pretty pixelated and it's not the smoothest. So I wouldn't really recommend downloading the footage off of Instagram. I would just stick with the main camera app to shoot video. For pictures, they're both fine. I would say the Galaxy has a bit more saturation, so if you do want a bit more punch, then there's that. The Pixel leans more towards the neutral grayish tone. Now here is the biggest downfall for the A52. Low light performance on the camera is very sluggish and slow. When I hit the shutter button, it takes like a good second for it to snap, and you would have to hold it very still or the picture will come out pretty blurry. So if you like taking pictures when you're at dinner, at a bar, or even like a nighttime event, then this is not going to be the camera for you. On the other hand, the 6a is pretty smooth and snappy overall. From swiping to different modes, switching lenses, and even snapping the picture, it's very responsive. For low light video, the Galaxy is pretty noisy and you can see a lot of artifacts, so it's not as clean, but it is brighter, so it really depends on your personal preference. Now for this shot in the streets, I do like the Pixel 6a's color much better. I feel like the vibrancy and saturation gives it the extra punch, whereas on the A53, it feels a bit more dull and bland.
overall, I do like the 6A's camera much better. I like how I can stay in 4K and it's stabilized. It's a very simple camera to use. You point, shoot, and for the most part, the pictures come out great. And it works fine in low light. It's not sluggish, it's very responsive, so you can use this camera all day. So that is my opinion and comparison. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.